Hello, everyone. We are live. Yay! That's it.
Hello.
Um,
We're live.
and yeah, we are live. So yeah, we were talking about like taking like some days off, right? And yeah, I think so. Like we just like keep small talking for a bit, like just to everyone notice that
Just
we are
wait
live.
for people come.
And then after like
Yeah,
a couple of minutes, like we start the live. So yeah, like taking some days off, like it's really important to um, yeah, just like to energize and like
yeah,
be ready for
yeah. And
um,
I really, really needed it. It was a very busy year, and the last few months I barely had a day off. So it was really nice to, switch off, stay away from my laptop for a few days, and just enjoy and rest and sleep a lot. It was really good. So yeah.
and how do you do like to manage like a lot of clients, because like we have a agency, right? So
Yeah.
um, how do you do
Well,
like to
I mean, I've got a great team, so that's obviously part of it. But then I'm also extremely, extremely organized. Some people call it a little bit psychotic. So I'm that person that has like everything on her calendar. It's color coded. Like everything is on my calendar. Like I'm very much like very, very organized. So I think that also helps.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because yeah, clients they usually want like they want to be like priority, right? And setting boundaries like sometimes is kind of tough.
Yeah, I think it's all about setting expectations, especially at the beginning. So obviously, all clients are equally important, and all of them are a priority, or none of them are a priority, however you look at it. But it's about setting boundaries from the very beginning, setting expectation in terms of timelines. I'm always very clear upfront about, okay, so this is what you're getting, this is when you're getting it, and this is how it's going to work. We're going to have one call a week. If you need something urgent, you can, reach out here or email here, but don't call me, and all of those things. So I think if you set those expectations and boundaries at the very beginning as you're onboarding them, 99% of them will be happy to respect those. So I've not never had a problem with that.
Great. And then plus being super organized, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's there you go.
Yeah. And also
Um,
delivering, like, once I've been doing this for a long time now. So I know what people need, I know what clients expect. So I also get to those needs in advance before they even know what they need, what they're going to ask. So that also helps. I think with experience comes managing them and knowing what they need when they need it. So,
yeah, 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 I think it's this is super important.
mm,
Um, so yeah, let's start.
awesome.
Yeah, so cool. So first, who is Laia Fernandez? Tell me like a little bit about you.
Sure. I'm Laia. I'm originally from Barcelona, from Spain, but I've been living overseas for the last 10 years. And for the last four, I've been based out of Bali, Indonesia, which is where I'm at now. And I've been a marketer for about a decade now. Um, I've worked for multinationals when I was back in the UK. And ever since I moved to Bali, I did a little bit of freelancing and I decided to open my agency. So now I'm the CEO, founder of Moonblast Marketing, which is a Web3 marketing agency. We work with clients within the tech space, Web3, blockchain, AI, anything that's new technologies, we work with those. And yeah, it's been a really, really exciting journey over the last 5 years. I've also managed to, I'm very passionate about tech. I've always been. And I'm also very passionate about wellness and health in general. So I've managed to mix those two, and I've got plenty of clients within the health tech sector as well, which is very exciting for me. And it's been a very interesting journey over the last 5 years, discovering Web3, following the market, the ups and the downs, meeting plenty of people, founders that are doing really, really cool things, and being able to help them. It's been very interesting. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And one thing, like, why Bali? Like, why Indonesia?
Why
It's
Indonesia?
this it's
I
something that like plan or is just I don't know.
Not quiet. So I was living in London at the time, and I came to Bali on holidays. So I was looking for a place to go on holidays. I had already traveled through most of Southeast Asia, and I was kind of wondering whether I should go to the Philippines or Indonesia. And flights to Indonesia were cheaper, and I had a few friends here, so I thought, let's do Bali, let's do Indonesia, why not? And so I came here for 3.5 weeks, and I absolutely fell in love with the place. I love the people, I love the island. I also was a bit tired of London, and I had always wanted to open my own business. I didn't necessarily like working for others. So it was like everything came together at once, and I made the decision to move to Bali and try to open the agency and try to make it work. And so I did. I went back to London, quit my job, packed everything, and moved to Bali within 3 months. So it was a bit fun.
Well, yeah, yeah, intense, intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think like when you feel that, like it's something that and you don't regret. I think like the way you're telling the story, like it was like a great decision you made. So,
It was, yeah.
um,
And I actually, when I have to make a decision like that, I always think, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? And I'm lucky enough that at that time, the worst thing that could happen was I run out of money, it doesn't work out. I have to go back to London, or I have to go back to Barcelona, where I'm from, and I have to find a job. So if that was the worst thing that could happen, it was worth a try for me. And so I did it, and it worked out, and I'm really happy it did. It was definitely the right goal for me. Yes.
yeah, awesome. Um, I think like you have like clients all over the world, like especially like I think you have like a strong network in Europe. So
Yes.
like how do you manage the difference in time zone? I guess like because
With
you
little
you
sleep.
have like a bit of difference.
Yeah, we do. So we work worldwide, but most of our clients are either in Europe, Australia, or the US. Although I also have clients in South Africa. How do I manage it? Well, I wake up really early in the morning. I'm a morning person, so I don't mind having a 4 a.m. call if needed. It's fine for me. So that's kind of how I manage my goals with the US. Then Australia is in a similar time zone. And then early afternoons for me are European mornings. So that works. My team is also based worldwide. So I've got quite a few people in Europe, which is very helpful to cover that time where I'm sleeping. And again, boundaries. My clients know where I am from the very beginning. Even when I travel, I let them know if I'm going to be in a different time zone. And we set meetings within times that work for everybody. And considering I'm willing to wake up very early in the morning, I've never had a problem with this. Everyone is pretty flexible when you tell them in advance. So it's never really been a problem. It's just about organization. And as I said, very organized lady here.
Yeah, awesome. Um, Yeah, great. And how about marketing? Like you told that you are doing marketing for more than a decade now. Like you
Yeah,
always knew that you want to do like marketing.
not at all. I actually graduated in law. I'm a lawyer technically. Yes. I studied law, and I moved to London while I was finishing my degree. And so I finished the last couple of years online. But then while I was in London, I got the opportunity to work for a marketing department at a multinational. And I took it as like, why not? Let's try this. And I completely fell in love with marketing and I was really good at it. And at the same time, as I was finishing my degree, I already knew that law wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Also, as someone that I knew I wanted to travel and be able to live overseas. So law is not necessarily the most flexible job in that sense. So I was already working in marketing and I absolutely loved it. So when I finished my degree, I just continued with marketing.
Yeah, awesome. Yes, yes, yes. And when was like the first time you heard about like Web3 marketing?
Ooh. Well, I first heard about Web3, well, like mainly crypto. I heard about crypto I got very involved in 2017, 2018 at a personal level. So I had a lot of friends that were investing in crypto. I thought this is interesting. I got very involved. Then I discovered what the blockchain was and Web3, and I got quite involved on a personal level. And as I was getting involved on a personal level, I realized there was a big, big gap in the market when it came to marketing. This is back at the beginning when there were only influencer marketing agencies, PR agencies. They were charging fortunes, but there was no real strategy behind any project because everything was so short lived. Um, and I thought, big gap, and this bubble is not going to last forever. Projects and companies are going to need marketing strategy in the long run. If they want to be in the market for years, you're going to need a marketing strategy. And so I already had the agency back then. I thought, let me see if we can get a couple of clients, see how it works. And I started working within the industry due to my personal connections and so on. And we were really good at it. We were getting really good results. I wasn't really passionate about other type of clients that we had. We were still doing a great job, but it wasn't like e-commerce is not a passion of mine, for example. So I decided to pivot the agency completely towards new technologies, and that was about 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. We completely pivoted. We finished our contract with our clients. I dropped them all, and we've just been focusing in Web3 ever since. That's how it kind of came about. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Now you're like a expert.
Yeah. I don't like the word
Yeah,
expert. There's always something to learn. I don't like the word guru either. I think everyone has a lot to learn and no one's perfect, especially in such a new industry that's changing every single day. But yeah, we've been doing this for a while. I love tech. I've worked in tech previously as well. And I've been working Web3 for quite a while. So I do understand the market and I do understand how marketing for Web3 works. Definitely, yes.
yeah, because yeah, um, yeah. There's like this phrase of Socrates that like he says like, I just know that I don't know. But
Exactly.
yeah, because like the more you know about a subject, the more you know how much you don't know, right? And yeah,
Exactly.
especially like a
Especially
field that
like technology, you get into it and suddenly you've got NFTs, you've got crypto, you've got DeFi, you've got refi, you've got all of these different areas are all like different, and people expect you to know everything about everything, and it's impossible. And every day there are more and more popping up. So yeah, it's interesting, and it's consistently like you gotta keep learning and you gotta keep up within this industry. Like I would personally spend about an hour or two every day just trying to keep up with trends and what's new and like news and everything. just to stay on top of what's happening.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like crazy because like it's ever evolving, but I'm sure like with experience and seeing things like over and over, like you can start like finding some patterns. And since like you already try a lot of things, some things work out and some things didn't work out. And the way you told, like you can already like predict the client's needs. And I think this is already like a sign that we are becoming like an expert, like in a sense that knowing more, way more than the average, right? A person that's just starting out.
Of course, yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you start to see patterns, you start to see what definitely doesn't work. You see some things that work for a certain type of client, other things that work for a different type of client. And you are able to very quickly create a strategy and know what to do, especially because it's an industry where there's not a lot of time to go from strategy to implementation and launch. Everything moves really, really fast. It's like I like to call it like when 7, 8 years ago, everyone thought that e-commerce was like such a fast industry and everything moved so quickly compared to brick and mortar businesses. This Web3 is the new e-commerce in that sense. Everything moves so fast. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's go like to the subject. Web3 marketing. Um, what makes it unique, and how to get started?
Awesome. Yes. This is a tricky one. So, because if you go out there on LinkedIn and Twitter, you'll find people that tell you that Web3 marketing is like this super complicated science that it's very difficult to crack. You find other people that tell you, no, that's free marketing, that's a dud. It's regular marketing and people should do the regular things. So, where I come from, I think it's something in the middle. I don't think it's something extremely complicated and inaccessible, but I also think it's different from traditional marketing or what we've done so far. But simply because Web3 is a new industry and a different industry. And that means there's a new audience and it's a different audience. And so the tactics, the technology, and the channels that we use to promote our product or our service in Web3 have to be slightly different because they have to appeal to this new audience. And that's why, from a marketing perspective, it's different. You also have different tools that you don't necessarily use with Web2 traditional companies, such as NFTs and so on. So I think from my point of view, there are four main things that make Web3 marketing unique and different from what we've done before. That doesn't mean we have to dismiss the rest of the marketing channels and everything else on marketing, but those four things are very important and should be added to any Web3 strategy. Um, the
Just
first one, yeah, sorry.
just before you talk like about the four ones, because I think those web 1 and 2 and 3, they kind of course that they evolve, but I think they kind of blend together. Like like I was like making a research in the web one dot, like if I'm telling something like completely wrong, like you can fix me, like not a worries. But what I've read about, like the web one was like static pages when people like scroll, and that's it. Like the web 2.0, the web 2, right, was like social media, right? Like you have a little
Interaction.
bit of engagement. And when I was like looking at the history, like I was like, without realizing, I understand, because I was in the part, like I'm not like super old, but I live long enough to see like Web 1 and Web 2, and like
Yeah.
without even notice, like the landscape like changed completely. Like for like a page, a static page that we go through and navigated it, to social media. Like when
Yeah.
Facebook was launched, when here in Brazil was like Orkut, and then like the time we spend on those platforms changed a lot. The way we interact in those platforms change a lot, and of course, like if people are changing their behavior, the marketing strategy has to change as well to appeal to this new type of audience. So I think the same way like Web 2 changed marketing related to Web 1, like Web 3 can also like change, but since like we are not like fully transformed and we cannot like predict the future, it's super complicated to understand exactly how
It is.
it's going to be, but it's evolving, like it's changing, right? Like we are
Exactly.
seeing
It's
like
changing. It's a process. We are still we have, obviously it's not mass adopted yet. Not everyone is using blockchain. Not everyone is aware of what Web3 is and what it entails. But it's that very beginning, the same thing when Web2 came along, and there were a lot of people that were very skeptical about it. And they were like, no, this is not going to last. It's simply an evolution of the internet of technology, and we humans will adapt to it, and so will the market, businesses, marketing strategies, and any single industry really. It may happen now, it may happen in 5 or 10 years, depending on the industry, but we will all slowly adapt. And it's, yeah, of course it's difficult to predict exactly how that's going to happen, but we have to be able to kind of melting with it and adapt as it comes. That's what I'm saying. It's an industry that moves so fast because we're at the beginning of it. So there's a lot of movement and a lot of changes very quickly. But yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting.
But yeah, and one thing is that like the Web 1, I think it hasn't died yet. Like we have like static websites where people just go and consume content. Like we have
Yeah.
like blogs where people like are posting, and it generate like a bit of result as well. But like the
Hmm.
Web 1 is also like mixed on Web 2. Like we have like those static pages that people share on social media. So but I think like Web 1 like doesn't die. I think Web 2 is not going to die, but it's going to be like an added layer of complexity, that like we're going to like like come together like to add
Yeah.
into the ecosystem. I don't know like if it's just like me
Yes. But it
overthinking
also
it.
that like with Web3, this is when ownership comes into action and decentralization. At the moment with Web2, social media as an example, you don't own any of your data, you don't own any of your content. You're basically going onto LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram and you're posting on someone else's platform, but you don't own any of it. Web3 changes that, among many other things. It changes ownership. It's sovereign. It allows every single user or member of the community to own that piece of content. So it's very interesting how it's going to change the landscape from a data ownership perspective, amongst many other things. Um, and obviously, when it comes to marketing, that is key to understand behavior. It's a very different type of user or audience or member of the community, however we want to call it, is very different than the one that simply uploads a blog. It's a big, big change. And decentralization is the one of the four things that I was mentioning before that I think makes Web3 marketing different from and unique from what we've done in the past.
Do you have like examples? Yeah, let's go like to the four unique things. I was just like causing here a bit of discussion. So like I I I know like those things about decentralization. Like how does like this like how the technologies like allow these decentralizations to happen? Like do you have like examples of um because for me it's like how I'm gonna own my data, like how like I can like
Because
delete
your data, okay. This is a question for a tech expert, for an engineer or a developer. I'm none of those. But your data will be on the blockchain. And everyone owns up it. It's open. That's why. So currently your data, and again, this is not marketing. This is for a developer to talk about. But currently your data is owned by a company, say Instagram. Everything is owned by Meta, right? Now you've got all of these Web3 social media platforms popping up where the data is owned by everyone. Like there's no centralized company, Meta in this case, that owns the app. The users own the app. That's the difference between one and the other.
Yeah, the same as cryptocurrencies, where like we have like the network that allows the transactions to happen.
Yeah, everything is in the
Instead
blockchain.
of instead of money, it's going to be like user data, which will be like on the blockchain.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah. But
interesting.
again, this is a
Very
question for
interesting.
an expert on tech, and they will explain it 1,000 times better than me, definitely. But it's interesting from a marketing perspective because it changes user behavior. You actually move from being a user to or a customer to being part of the community that owns the platform. So behaviorally, it's completely different. And how you talk to that person and how you enroll that person, it's very different.
Yeah, like
So when you're creating marketing and content and any sort of strategy, you have to keep that in mind. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Like do you have like a yeah? I think one example is like cryptocurrency, right?
Hmm.
Where the
Yeah.
person actually like owns, but like it's kind of money, and
Yeah. Or DAO. DAOs are decentralized. Are you familiar with DAOs?
DAOs.
A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. And it's
No.
basically, so think about it, any business. Traditionally, that business is owned by 1 to 10 people, and there's a board of directors, and then they have employees, right?
Yes.
With a DAO, that same business could be owned by literally everyone who's a member of the community. Say you launch a business and you launch tokens or you launch a massive collection of NFTs, it doesn't matter. And whoever buys into those tokens or NFTs becomes a member of the DAO, hence becomes a partial owner of that company.
Oh, okay.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah, like so like different from like LinkedIn, for example, where I am like a user on the platform on a Tao, right? I am like
DAO,
the business T
yeah, D,
Tao. Oh,
D
okay.
from decentralized.
Oh, oh, DAO. Oh, okay. So at DAO, um yeah, I kind of got a like I am like owner, like I am kind of owner of yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So there are different ways of doing it, but decentralization is a massive part of Web3. there are different examples, different levels of it, but it's, yeah, from a user perspective, it's very interesting, and marketing has to adapt towards it. So that's one thing that I would say is very different when it comes to traditional versus Web3 marketing. The second one, it's community, and they go together. Um, Traditional marketing talks to an audience, talks to customers. At its best, talks to loyal customers. Web3 marketing builds a community and talks to a community of people that are not only engaging within themselves, but are actively engaging with the company, the product, and they want to be a part of this community. Now, I think there are some traditional companies that have been doing this very well for years. And interestingly enough, are some of the first that have jumped into Web3. For example, Nike. For example, Starbucks. Those are brands that have been building communities for a very long time. They don't have customers, they have communities. And they've jumped into Web3 very quickly because they understood the power of it, and they already had those communities built. That's very key for Web3 as well. It's very interesting, especially Nike. I think Nike is like the best example that I can find of community of a brand that has built it for a long time. That of members that want to be a part of the brand and that are very proud of being part of that brand. And the way that they've jumped onto Web3 very quickly only shows that they had the potential to do it and they had the power to do it because they had all these people coming with them. And it's very interesting. Community is key for any Web3 company.
Got it. Like like in Web3, people are more like active, and they are, I think, like part of the brand, like which is different from.
Exactly. It's not just
Um,
about being active, it's about identifying with the brand and wanting to actively be a part of it. There are not many brands out there that do it well, um, because it's tricky, obviously. Like, you've got paying customers that actually care about the brand, so it's something that is not easy to achieve. But it's the future of marketing. It's the future of customers. Um, and that is also why Web3 is part of this evolution, because that's where we're going. Over the years, we've already heard that Gen Zs care more about who's behind the brand, what the company looks like, and how they work than just the product itself versus millennials who don't necessarily care that much. So this was already happening, and Web3 is definitely going to accelerate that, and it's going to change the landscape completely. And brands that are not able to build communities are definitely going to stay behind.
uh, Especially now that like users are like business owners, right? Like with this decentralization of data and yeah, people
Yeah,
are
it
not
also,
like customers anymore. Like they have like a piece of your company. So
yeah,
yeah,
it all goes together, and it's, yeah, it's really interesting, and definitely the future.
yeah. And the third
Oh yeah,
unique
sorry. So
feature.
the third one for me, it's user engagement. So the way that you interact with users. Currently, Web2, you use social media, you use email marketing, mm, and that's about it. You use videos, and so on. When it comes to Web3, it's slightly different because you can use tools like NFTs, you can use gamification, and you make the whole customer journey, user journey a lot more dynamic and a lot more active. Now, I won't get into NFTs and whether people think they're good or not, because that's a different story. But NFTs is a tool for customer loyalty are great. So the way that we engage with clients and members of the community is very different than simply sending out an email newsletter, for example.
Yeah, NFTs. Sorry, just like quick introduction. I've heard it once, but I'm not like fully understand the
Yeah, so
concept.
NFTs are non-fungible tokens.
What? Like, sorry, not
NFTs are non-fungible tokens.
no fungible. Like, what does that mean in practice?
Non-fungible tokens. Okay. So an NFT is a digital asset. Okay. So
Oh
most of us,
yes, yeah.
yeah, most of us we've heard about NFTs because of the big collections and scams and not scams that are out there. But when you think about NFT, you need to think about an NFT as a digital asset that gives you ownership of whatever you want. Okay? So forget about the collections, but say that you want to sell memberships or tickets for a concert. You can do that via NFTs because they're digital assets with unique ownership. So you could sell, if you go to a Taylor Swift concert and you want to sell 3 million tickets, so you could sell 3 million NFTs, for example. And so
Yeah.
on. So NFTs have a lot of use cases, not necessarily just what we hear about the most, which are the large NFT collections of collectibles, let's say. There's a lot of use cases for NFTs. But yeah, they're digital assets that have unique ownership.
Yeah, but yeah, that's like revolutionary because I think all of these like build together because I was like thinking about like virtual reality when you have like a world. So a company like
Mhm.
builds a virtual world and then you can like buy a piece of this world that's virtual, which is like crazy. Like how someone would like well paid for something that doesn't exist, but
But okay,
people
hear
do
me out. For
actually pay.
example,
Like people actually
this is really
like
interesting
pay.
now that you've mentioned this. From a loyalty perspective, okay, I think loyalty programs. I don't know if you like football. AC
Yes.
Milan, it's a yeah. They've just released their newest loyalty program. Now, this loyalty program, basically, what they've done, they've created a digital stadium in the metaverse, and they've sold the stadium different pieces. So they've just basically distributed it and they've sold it to members. All right. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are cheaper, depending on the side of the stadium that it is. Now, whenever they're playing a game in real life and something happens in the piece of land that they own, they get rewards because they own that piece of land.
Oh, okay.
How
So
interesting is that?
they are playing on real life. Like I
Yes,
didn't
I mean,
get it.
there's a game every week, right? Or every 2 weeks. So the members of the AC Milan have bought their digital piece of the stadium, and whenever the team is playing a game in real life and something happens in the bid that they own, they get rewards, customer loyalty.
Oh, I got it. So like oh, okay. So like imagine like there's like a soccer, and then I bought like a piece of the soccer. Like every time a player pass that field, I kind of
Yeah, a piece of
earn.
the stadium. So say you, yeah, you buy a piece of the goalie. So whenever there's a goal, you get a reward.
Oh,
And that can
that's
be
yes.
anything. That can be a discount, that can be a freebie, that can be anything. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
the evolution of customer loyalty.
yeah. No, but these NFTs like they are very interesting because everything that goes like huge, we always see pitfalls like the same as Chat GPT. Like they don't want like that people know how to build like nuclear bombs. But like since like there's like this technology where they have like the knowledge of everything, people can crack down and do like evil stuff. But the technology per se is not evil, right? And yeah,
Exactly.
this
That's what
thing
you do
of
with the
and
technology.
yeah, the NFTs like is also like something, yeah, it's super um yeah.
It's very interesting. Lots of use cases, and definitely part of Web3 marketing.
Yeah, and it can be like something like even like more simple. And I see like in games where you can like buy like a better armor or a different kind of sword if you are like doing like RPG like
Of course.
yeah.
It can be games. It can be anything as simple as what Starbucks has done. They've also launched their new loyalty program with NFTs. And you basically collect rewards. Some of them are NFTs. And then there's a marketplace where you can just buy and sell as well. And then you redeem that for um, different prices and stuff. Or it could be, I don't know, you could own, say, there's a coffee shop that's doing Web3 marketing, and they launch a collection of NFTs with their different coffee blends. And you own one of the coffee blends. Whenever someone orders a coffee with your blend, you get points or you get a reward or anything like that. It can be as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. So
Mm-hmm.
decentralization, community, like user engagement with
User
NFTs,
engagement. Yeah.
and the fourth one.
And the last one, I was just kind of talking about it, is tokenization and incentives. So incentives could be anything loyalty program. They go very well together because user engagement, NFTs, those are the tools that you use, and then you incentivize people and members of the community in order to, you know, get them engaged, get more loyalty from them, and so on. And NFTs or tokens are a big part of it. But yeah, building community is a lot about engaging and about incentivizing. So that's why all of those go very well together. And
Yeah,
yeah, the more of an engaged community you've got, the more successful your brand and your project and your product are going to be.
yeah, and yeah, I think that's like kind of different in a sense that um, we are seeing like people looking at the whole life cycle of the journey. That I am as a marketer, I always like invest heavily on acquisition. So like how we
Mm-hmm.
put customers like on board, like how to bring them, like doing like ads to make like acquisition and crafting a powerful message and like knowing where they are. But
Mm-hmm.
I think with all of those tools of Web3, um, you can like scale massively after acquisition. So like not only like getting them on board, but how do you like once they are inside, like how we can like make that audience like to grow massively, like, and how to
Exactly.
like retain and grow them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
key of it. Retention and, well, what we call now retention. Not a fan of that word, but yeah, because when it comes to Web3, there won't be any need to create a retention strategy because they will want to stay if you've done it right.
well, yeah, like even though like the person like is the owner, like for example like
Even if they're
Nike, like
not, yeah, even if they're not, they want to be a part of a community. Look again, Nike. Look at Nike. They sell shoes and, yeah, and like workout clothes and stuff, but they start selling shoes. And people barely talk about Nike because of the shoes. So if Nike opened a hotel tomorrow, will you know what to expect exactly? Probably, right? If they tomorrow opened a hotel, you'll know exactly what type of hotel it is.
Yeah, it's a soccer hotel.
That's a sign that
Right.
they've built a massive brand and built an amazing community. Because you wouldn't think, oh, a shoe shop. No, you think about Nike and you think about so much more than someone that sells shoes.
Got it.
And
Got
that's
it.
kind of the essence of what Web3 brands are doing.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, like that makes a lot of sense. And okay, like we know how like Web3 is unique, and it's very unique. Like we have a lot of different features, and how to get started.
Mhm.
Like I have like, for example, I imagine I don't know, business owner. I have no idea what Web3 is, and what would be
We get a
like
lot.
a first step.
Yeah. So I think a first step, whether you're a marketer looking to work in Web3 or whether you're a founder looking to create your Web3 company, I think your first step would be to understand a little bit the technology side of things slightly. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to have a working knowledge of what is it that you're getting into, and start looking at people that are already doing it. Look at projects, look at companies that are already using technology, using blockchain, they're in Web3. Look at what they've done, look at what they're aiming to do. So you'll get a much better idea of how it works, really. Lots of reading. As I said at the beginning, I spend about an hour or two every morning with my coffee, just going through trends and news and everything. It's kind of keep up to date with what's happening. Um, and then just you have to kind of jump in the waters and learn. I get this question a lot, so that's why I haven't mentioned this, but I'm developing a range of digital products. I think I've talked about it on my LinkedIn, but they're like very entry level digital products that explain Web3 marketing very detailed. They're quite a low cost product just for people that really want to get started and they don't know really how to. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, it's a lot of reading, a lot of talking to people, a lot of networking. As you would do in any industry, really, just talk to people that done this before you, and then just jump in the ocean and try to make it work. But yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very interesting industry, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and you can help people out, right? You can
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
talk to you. You are like an expert, and you
Yeah,
can,
my
yeah.
DMs on LinkedIn are always open, so anyone can send me a connection request, ask questions. Yeah, always happy to help.
Yeah, and I think yeah, like the fourth part of it, like to talk a bit more like about your company. Like you told about like this Web3 and how amazing it is, and yeah, like if I want to know more about you, about Web3 and how to get started.
Sure. Well, yeah. So with Moonblast, we've got, which is my agency, we've got two different type of service. As I mentioned, we've got the client-facing services, which is marketing strategy, fractional CMO, and any sort of marketing that companies may need. And then we're developing also these digital products that will help founders, marketers. I also provide consultations, and I'm launching something very exciting that I call VIP Days. And this is specifically for marketers that want to learn about Web3 and want to get involved. And they basically spend the day with me and we go through everything they need to know. So that's a new service that I'm launching. And yeah, anyone that wants to know more about it can either find me on LinkedIn or the company page, or you can check our website, which is moonblastmarketing.com, and send an inquiry through there. Yeah, or you can find me on Twitter as well at, I think it's hey, this is Laya. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome.
And I don't know. Do you have three people that like to keep like those conversations on LinkedIn going? Like, if you have like
Sure.
some
Do you want
people
them to be
to
Web3 people?
you decided. It can be
Okay.
like someone
I
that
would
I
say
can have.
definitely talk to Zach Darius. I don't know if you know him, but he is the king of building community on LinkedIn. He does such a great job. He's in the industry as well. He works in Web3, and he is absolutely incredible. And anything that is branding, community, yeah, he's absolutely amazing. I've known Zach for a while now. So definitely Zach, I would say. Then I would, okay, Adam as well, I think. Adam Haluska. He's also on LinkedIn. And he is very much into Web3, but also very much into wellness and biohacking, which is, as I mentioned before, also a passion of mine. So I love his content. He's a really nice guy. He's based out in Bali here as well. And he does, like, talks about very interesting stuff. Definitely those two.
Um, and do you have like a developer that knows like the technical part of blockchain, to get like really techy, like how how like a person, like how the data is not
Yes.
owned by the company but it's like owned by
Yeah,
everyone.
I do. I think, I mean, there's a few people I have in mind, but one of my clients, plural, they've got a great CTO, Gavin Marshall. He's amazing. And he's really good also at explaining anything that's tech and making it look simple when it's really not.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be like cool. Yeah, I was like really curious to understand like the technology behind it. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Like, thank you so much. And I think like the final part of it was like those short questions, just to finish in a light tone.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, can we go? Um,
Perfect. Let's do it. Yes, let's do
yeah.
it.
So yeah, one exercise.
Deadlifts
That list.
at the
How it
gym.
is
Gym.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna show you. It's a leg exercise. Gym. Yeah, definitely gym.
Okay. One fish.
Hmm. Salmon.
Okay. Burger or pizza?
Pizza.
Okay. Um, what can you only find in Bali and nowhere else?
What can I find in Bali and nowhere else? Sambal, which is a
Hmm?
very spicy sauce, and I absolutely love it.
Sambal.
Sambal. It's a very, very spicy sauce. Yeah, sambal. I love it.
Cool. Web3 reminds you of what?
Chaos. It's very chaotic.
um, what will Web4 look like?
Uh, I don't know. And I don't know if I want to know, to be honest. Probably something very complicated to understand that is gonna remove human connection completely.
We're going to be like virtual people. Like, yeah, awesome.
Exactly,
One
yeah.
word. Yeah, cool.
One, sorry?
And one word that defines you.
Woo, hmm. That's interesting. I would say I always call myself a hype woman. I'm always like pushing for myself and for everyone, and I'm always really happy and always trying to strive for, you know, the best of me and everybody else. So hype woman, definitely.
Hi, Puman. Cool, cool, awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Laya.
Thank you for
Yeah, it was
tuning,
like
for inviting
awesome.
me. Great.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's been
really, yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Thanks. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, I think that was it. And we still like save like 5 minutes for our next
Oh,
call.
yeah, we did.
So
Amazing.
yeah, I'll
Well,
just
thank you so much for
finish
having
here.
me. It's been great.
Yes, I'll finish it. But you can stay. I'll just finish here. Bye bye.